Northwest Province, we've made history in the sector of education by producing a teacher who has won, you can hear the voices there, they're preparing to speak to us. We have produced a teacher who has won the 2021 African Union Continental Teacher Award. This is Agnes Rasesemola, who is a school principal of Sunrise View Secondary School. She was announced the winner during the official ceremony which was held at Addis Ababa in Ethiopia at the end of last month. And we're hosting her in the studio today. Not just her. We've got also the Premier of the Northwest, Bushy, Maape, and the MEC for the Department of Education, Maphefo Matsemela, and of course the winning teacher. Let me welcome everyone. Good morning and welcome to UFM.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Pat.
All protocol observed. We're going to start with the Premier. It's an honor, privilege to have you on the show with us. Good morning. Are you well?
Thank you very much. I always feel very welcome when I come here.
No, we appreciate it. And the MEC for Education in the province, Maphefo Matsemela, you're a regular, and it's always a pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you so much for welcoming us today, together with the Premier and the Ambassador.
We appreciate it. And then, of course, the lady of the moment. The whole Africa should be clapping for you. Agnes Rasesemola, good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here at UFM and be amongst the Honorable Premier and the Honorable MEC of Education.
There was nothing we could do. There was no way we're going to ignore this. Your school is very famous for producing results. I'm going to tell you a personal quick story. I don't want that story to overshadow everything.
Okay.
My mother-in-law used to really go on about how your school is well run.
Wow.
And she said that if she hadn't retired, she probably would have loved teaching at your school. But let's get into it. Take us through what led you to where you are today. Where did it all start?
It started off when I went to Setotolani College of Education to study teaching. And right from the word go, I was consistent in terms of applying myself, in terms of being passionate about the subjects that I'm teaching as well as the results. And I worked at a number of schools from my home province, Limpopo. After 4 years, I came to Northwest because there were no permanent posts that side. Mm-hmm. After coming to Northwest, I can say that Northwest took care of me because that's where I got most of my experience, starting with the marking, experience of being a marker for the matrics, as well as getting the promotional post the very same year. I was the departmental head at Rasesemola Secondary School. I then went from one school to the other. I actually taught at a number of schools that are dynamic, such that I worked at the poor of the poorest and also got an opportunity to work at an former Model C school at Granville High School as a deputy principal. Hence, I was able to then, when I was given the keys of Sunrise View Secondary School, because it was Sunrise View Secondary School, a name, and that was it. So I had to engage everyone to come up with a vision of the school, to come up with the values, the success factors, the objectives. As a collective, my personal vision as the school principal was to bring town to the township. And I must say that with the support of my staff and the SGP, we have realized that dream. So what led us to where we are today is because throughout my career, I also exposed myself by entering the National Teaching Awards. It started in 2013 when I entered in the category Excellence in Fiscal Sciences Teaching, and I obtained position 2 at National. In 2017, I entered again in the category excellence in secondary leadership. And I was crowned Mzansi #1 because I got position 1. I brought a car home, and the whole community was proud of my Rasesemola.
Can you make us look bad more? Please carry on.
The journey did not stop there. We continued because all that we do at Sunrise View Secondary School is not for recognition, but all that we do at Sunrise View Secondary School is to make sure that we give the African child hope, we give the African child the future. So we continued, we presented the first matric in 2017 and obtained 95.6%. Despite the social cohesions that we have in the area that I'm working, 2/3 of my learners are coming from the informal settlement. But you come to my school, you will not be able to tell apart who comes from the bond house and who comes from the informal settlement, because our learners wear their school uniform with pride. They wear their full school uniform as if they are going to a school in town. So for the 4 years that we presented the matric, our results have been above 95%, and the highest being at 98.2%. This year, I again entered the National Teaching Awards in the category National Best Teacher Award, and I obtained position 2 at National. And now I'm talking about Rasesemola, but I also have colleagues who entered the very same National Teaching Awards. I have 2 who also went up to National in the category Physical Sciences Teaching, and that is to ensure, that tells you that I've been inspiring my colleagues as well. Because in the province, people who went up to National in the physical science categories and got a position come from Sunrise View Secondary. My learners are also doing well out there in terms of the extramural activities. We are presenting learners on annual basis at National with soccer, with netball, gymnastics, indigenous games, morabaraba. Khati, we are the national winners for 2 consecutive years. We also expose our learners to co-curricular activities. We have our debating team who became position 1 at National during the National Traffic Safety Debating. And then we also have our learners taking part in National Olympiads, South African National Geography Olympiads. We have learners who are amongst the 10% in the country.
If I can just jump in there, and yes. I love that you're recounting all these things, all these achievements. One gets a sense that you're a hard worker. Talk to us about what motivates you.
I'm motivated when I see my learners accomplishing their dreams. When learners do well, because the journey doesn't end after passing the matric. Hence, I started the SVS alumni because our school is passionately known to be SVS. We have the alumni where I make sure that I have a pool of talent from the learners coming from Sunrise View Secondary. Just yesterday, there were 2 of my learners who passed last year who are studying medicine at Sefako Makatu. They came yesterday when we were issuing out the reports to do their assignment of getting vitals from learners and colleagues as well. So to see those learners making it in life, that on its own motivates me. To see my colleagues also getting promoted, because the schools in Rustenburg, even the schools in town, they fish from our pond. They come and recruit teachers from my school in order to learn the best practices through them.
Then my next question will be for another teacher or other teachers that are listening to you, or those that want to be teachers, because I'll be honest with you, the last 7-8 years the profession again is beginning to gain the recognition it deserves in society. What do you say to them? How do you encourage them to work as hard and to achieve all the accolades that you've achieved?
Through my social media, I'm already doing my best to make teaching fashionable. I'm showing people out there that to be in a teaching profession is actually nice. There are perks of being a teacher. So now the other thing that I'm doing is when teachers come and do teaching practices at my school, they already want to work at my school. I'm receiving CVs on daily basis from teachers across the country because they see through our Facebook page that at Sunrise View Secondary School there is life. It's not only about teaching in the classroom, but exposing teachers to other activities, and also having a school in the township, but being a 21st century school. I managed to get sponsorship in all the classes. With they are all equipped with interactive boards. There's Wi-Fi infrastructure, and then I have more than half of my staff are the Funza Lushaka Pazas, these youngsters. So they and everyone is motivated to come to work on daily basis because when we have Wi-Fi, even if you go to the mall to eat and you get into a restaurant and they tell you they don't have Wi-Fi, people don't go there for a meal. Yeah. They want to be connected.
That is so true.
There's connectivity at my school, and then the teachers are motivated. So everyone, they recruit their peers, and maybe because today I'm with the Honorable Premier, they can also consider putting faces of teachers on the billboards. They can put, they don't only see other adverts. They can see a teacher on the billboard and they say, wow, being a teacher is also honorable.
Well, let me tell you, your win certainly puts the profession, in good standing, and I'm sure there'll be lots of discussions in that space. Let's bring in the MEC, and once again, thanks a lot for joining us. And you heard the success stories. Whether you like it or not, it reflects on your work as a department. Talk to us about, what it took for your department to have produced a winner of this caliber.
We are so overwhelmed as the Department of Education in the Northwest Province. However, given the joy that we are having right now, we are not surprised as such, because we know that presenting Mrs. Ras for this award, Mrs. Ras would not actually disappoint the Department of Education, would not even disappoint the sector as a whole, would not even disappoint South Africa as a country. She came back honestly being a winner. And right now in the Department of Education, we know that we are having an ambassador, and an ambassador who's not selfish. I've seen Mrs. Rasesemola during the National Teachers Awards around July this year, assisting a lot of teachers across the province, because a number of them came to her. She could even travel as far as from Rustenburg to Vryburg to go and coach other teachers as to how best can you become a good teacher, and also how best can you be realized amongst other teachers. So to us, though we are happy, it is not as a surprise as such, because we knew that we are presenting a person who will actually make us proud as the Department of Education. And something that she has raised is around the community of Sunrise Park. One would not actually assume that Mrs. Rasesemola School indeed is within that community. But whenever you are in Sunrise Park, you would see education as a matter of the society in a real sense. Before they closed, I went to the school because I wanted to see to it that they have admitted accordingly, particularly the grade 8s. I found each one of those grade 7s who are supposed to be grade 8s next year in a very good uniform. They were already been trained about even the song of the school. They've been trained around the values of education, because we are having values in education, your dignity, respect, and many, many more. But also what is important is how best do you receive these learners coming from a primary to a secondary school. So to us, honestly, Mrs. Rasesemola have made us proud as the Department of Education in the Northwest Province.
You're a former teacher yourself. Now you're the MEC for Education. Personally, what does this award mean to you?
I will raise, I wish, if horses.
If wishes were horses, definitely.
If wishes, yes, I would raise that notion. However, remember when I was a teacher, we were not being exposed to a number of these things. Bo Marasi have been exposed to a system that is quite functional for now. The system that says if there are blockages or challenges, how best as a principal or as a teacher do you make it a curriculum to be more acceptable and to be more implementable at a particular point. So as a teacher, if I was part of the Rasesemola's time, I think I could have scooped this award, because I remember
Why not?
I remember when we started to introduce OBE, then I was one of the best teachers. My second inspector used to go across Bujanala district with my work to show people that this is the same teacher as you are, and worse, this teacher is the chairperson of SATU. I remember I was the chairperson of SATU at that stage, but I was always committed to my work in the classroom. I would want to see my learners at that stage performing to a manner in which it is quite convincing that indeed education is a lifelong process.
We are in conversation with the MEC for Education in the province. She's not alone. She is with the winner of an award we're going to be proud of for quite a long time, the 2021 Africa Union Continental Teachers Award, Agnes Rasesemola. And I like that you referred to her as Meras, because she's a lot more famous than she actually thinks.
The same name is too long.
I know. She's a lot more famous than she actually thinks. The next question I'm going to ask you, MEC, as soon as we do the headlines, is we were talking about this on the show before we move on to the premiere, is when you look at Sunrise as a school, when you look at the actual Sunrise View Secondary School, you can actually see that the building builds people. This is where human beings and future leaders are manufactured or will be manufactured. I'm going to ask that you pause and we do the headlines. Give me an idea on how, or talk to us as members of the community on how we can assist schools everywhere where we are to stand as proudly as Sunrise View Secondary School does stand. It's 8:30 and these are the top stories.
The Commission for Gender Equality says 16 days is not enough to raise awareness around gender-based violence, and Pop Crew raises concern over the safety of police officers. More on these stories at 9.
We appreciate it. If you're joining us only now, it's UFM, You With The Boys, the Friday edition. We've got special guests and reason really to celebrate in this province, the Northwest Province. We've made history in the sector of education. We've produced a teacher who was won the 2021 African Union Continental Teachers Award, Agnes Rasesemola, who sometimes referred to as Meras, who is a school principal at a very good school and one of the many in this province. And maybe we don't focus too much on the good schools. She's the principal of Sunrise View Secondary School, and she was announced the winner during the official ceremony, which was held at Addis Ababa in Ethiopia at the end of last month. And we're celebrating her today. We've asked her to come to the show. She's given us a breakdown. We're in conversation with the MEC, and we're just going to cross over in a moment to speak to the Premier. You know you're somebody when the Premier tags along to come in and congratulate you. But just going back to you, MEC, Renale matsapanyana as Africans, dikolo tsa rona man ha ke batle go nyatsa thata di school governing bodies and so forth. Mara sekolo se tshwanang le Sunrise View Secondary School, ha o se lebeletse yana wa bona hore ha fa go tle go tswa baeteledipele. Talk to us as members of the community. What role can we play in making sure that these schools are safeguarded? Ha o se ka sengwa go dikolong jalo jalo.
I want to start by saying education is an apex priority. If our community members as a whole can understand what an apex is all about and also what a priority is all about, because as an apex priority, it becomes our plan as the Department of Education or as a sector to provide an infrastructure. And I remember that in 2019, between 2019 and 2024, we are saying we are going to provide an infrastructure beyond sanitation. So once the school is been built with millions, in most cases it's millions of money, honestly, to build a school. Now, after that, we hand over the school to the community. We hand over the school to the community through the SGB. We have seen across the province, some community members, honestly, are taking good care of our schools. They are even guards to our schools across the province, because they know that their children. For instance, we have closed.
Yes.
Learners have closed. We are closing probably next week as the entire Department of Education. So once you know that your child is supposed to come back to that school next year, it says, how best do you start to love that school? How do you embrace the school? So around Sunrise Park, we are having that kind of communities, honestly, that are taking good care of our schools through the parents, through community members. But it is not only in Sunrise Park. When you go to Boitekong as a whole, schools in Boitekong are solely being looked after by community members. When you go to Rispruit, when you go to Tlachameng, schools in all those areas are solely being looked for by the community members.
Well, we're very proud, and it's important that you should emphasize and once the infrastructure is provided, it's handed over to the community. Even if my child doesn't go to that school, I have a responsibility to see to it that no harm or no destruction falls on that school. At this point, we bring in the Premier, Bushy Maape. So thank you so much for your patience. I'm sure one of these days we'll celebrate you, but today the focus falls on Mayor Rasesemola. I'm going to ask you to give us your message for her achievement.
I don't know, I'm speechless. This, I don't know how to describe this. Is this fantastic? Is this mind-blowing? Is this marvelous? Is this out of this world? I don't know. Pat Cash will give me some superlatives.
I think he's doing well so far. I'll give you 100% for that.
To describe this, we are excited, we are proud. And this is an indication that if you have people who demonstrate discipline, dedication and devotion, nothing is insurmountable. She described the conditions in which her peoples live, but those conditions do not determine what they will become. Through the teaching, through the support, they overcome, those limitations created by the social environment. We are so very proud. We are drowning in applaud, in appreciation from different quarters, from people in the province, from people outside of the province. People are so happy that we have put South Africa on the continental map in terms of achievement in education.
And actually, information just came to me that you were also a teacher at some point in your life. I mean, now you're a premier. When you look at this AU Continental Teachers Award, what do you think it means to the province as a whole?
I don't know whether I'm impressed by you demoting me. I was school principal.
School principal. It's my source. My source will be, will not be consulted.
But anyway, Pat,
I beg your pardon.
You keep on saying for the province, for the country. She didn't achieve this for the province. This is for the country. I was speaking to the minister. The minister is proud, that we've achieved this. She has been indicating to us, explaining how she's motivating others. She is that star that shines all the time, that we must look at for inspiration, and the people of the province, the people of the country, they are all proud of her. So this means a lot for the people of South Africa, particularly the teachers. That generally speaking, the teachers are regarded as not celebrity attracting type of profession. It's a profession. Sometimes people think that if you decide to become a teacher, you are of average talent, intellectually, and this is not true. You get teachers who are excelling, who are, number ones from the schools where they come from, and they want to transfer this to their learners so that their learners must also become number ones. So in terms of the country, we really appreciate her. We really appreciate this creation of a center of excellence in the township. She has not inherited a Model C school with its resources, with its infrastructure. She has to work hard. She has to look for donations. She has to look for support. She has to inspire. She has to ensure that there's discipline. And with all the combination of these good traits, she has shown others that it can be done.
And how do you see other teachers modeling themselves on teachers like Rasesemola?
Pat, you asked this. She has been explaining to us how she's using Facebook, how she's using these trainee teachers who come to her school, and how many teachers throughout the country apply to her school. She says she has boxes full of CVs. They all want to come and teach there. They are already motivated because they read about her, they see the Facebook, so they are really motivated. They would all like to teach at a school like hers. So the challenge is, can we create other sunrises all over the province, all over the country? And this is the responsibility of the teachers that we create. We don't rush all want to go and join her at Sunrise. Let's create another Sunrise in Soweto, in Port Elizabeth, in Mafikeng, in Kimberley, in Velcom. We must create other Sunrises there so that we really, because education is the only leveler. If you come from a poor background, the only hope of being elevated to a better life is education. And so that's why we need these centers of excellence all over the country.
Premier, I'm going to ask to make a statement, and I'll ask you not to respond to my statement. Just acknowledge it. It's the only opportunity I have with you. I'll never be able to be in a room with you again to make the statement.
You don't know. I'm a regular visitor here.
Normally it's after I've left. But here's my statement. I believe that in the last 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer, the teaching profession, in terms of the respect that it used to get in those early years, the teaching profession is on a comeback trail. I'm seeing a lot of young people who are no longer shy to, as soon as they finish their matric, to go, I am going to get my B.Ed and I want to be a teacher. This is now my personal observation. I obviously have a son who's also a teacher, and in the early years he probably would have said to me, no, I'd never do that. It's a political statement. That's why I'm asking for your permission to make it and you not respond. And for the MEC of Education as well, I'm going to ask that you don't respond. Can we look at reducing the amount of tax that teachers are paying? Can we also look at them being paid a little bit more? Rasesemola, how ka o tla le hofi for go tlasia? Go ketswe madi, go fokotswe tax assembly.
Pat, you are provoking me and you say I must not respond.
I was hoping you don't.
We teachers believe in values of philanthropism. We are not motivated by external motivation, extrinsic motivation. Our value is to see others do good. That's what makes. I move around and I see people I taught, and one is a medical doctor there, one is a lawyer there, and I feel that I've achieved. I don't necessarily need material things. Well, I must eat, I must subsist, I must have shelter. But we teachers don't chase those things. There are other category of people who chase those things. We just chase excellence for our learners.
Rasesemola ke lekile a ke lekile ke like re tsana ka sekgowa a ipadile mara tla e bona
Rasesemola say I kopetse premier hore nna I want to be promoted. I remember 2 weeks ago when we were with her celebrating her, she said to us, I think I'm at the level where I deserve a promotion.
To go and teach others, other teachers.
Well,
yes,
that's honest.
Motivate
Why not?
them. Yes.
Why not? Why not? If an election campaign vote right now. Let's get back to you, Premier. 2 weeks ago, the UNISA Chancellor and former President of the country, Thabo Mbeki, bestowed, you with the Robben Island Award as the alumni of UNISA for the exemplary achievement and the service to South African society, and obviously as a former principal, I need to get that right, I shouldn't demote you. You now have a teacher from your province scooping this award, what should we expect more of these positive developments?
Surely. When I received the award, I was just feeling like she feels. It was not for me. I was not the one recognized. The award recognized the people of the province. Sometimes people think that this struggle was prosecuted by people in Durban, in Johannesburg. We here in the Northwest played our part, and we deserve to be acknowledged. And so that award was not meant for me. It was meant for Victor Sephora. I don't know whether you know him. It was meant for Stephen Sekhale from Rustenburg here, leaders of the ANC Youth League, contemporaries of Mandela. So it was meant for the people here. It was meant for Satu. It was meant for Nehau. So the award acknowledged the people of the Northwest. But what is also good about these awards, because we are challenged, talking about the past and how people regarded teachers in the past. We're coming from a past where people, I don't know whether they despised us or they looked down on us. Are you from the Northwest?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Oh, thanks for asking me.
You're from the Northwest. Are you still fighting? Are you still stealing? So we are changing this narrative with these awards. We, in terms of vaccination, I told people last time here, we are standing at 42%. We are in the mid-table. We don't like mid-table, but at least we are not at the bottom of the log. We are doing very well in different areas in the province. So what I want to say to you is that we've started the new municipalities, the new councillors who have just come in. We are inducting them in the practice of regarding your role as servant of the people. And so they've started already patching potholes there in Matlosane, there in Mafikeng. So they are doing this work. So I think this type of change, you perceive it only in the teaching profession, but I think it's happening across the board. I think with democracy, people thought now we have to relax, things will happen on their own. I think people realize now we've got to do things for ourselves. What democracy has done, it has created an environment where we can excel, where we can show our talent, where we can start helping one another. So I'm very optimistic about what the province will achieve in the future.
There is also a tendency, it's a similar question that I would have asked the MEC Maphefo Matsemela. I'll phrase it with you differently. We have a tendency as citizens of this country, and I'll zoom in on the citizens of this province, where when we are unhappy about that lack of service delivery and that other issue or that other political disagreement, that we take out our anger, misguided as it is, on institutions like schools, and we burn libraries. Can I ask you to speak to us in that space?
The MEC has indicated there are community members who have decided that they are going to protect their infrastructure. There was an incident very recently in Mafikeng when things were happening in KZN and Gauteng, where there were groups of people. I was not happy that they were armed with sticks, who said we are going to protect this mega city. No one is going to burn mega city. No one is going to damage cars here in this parking area. I mean, I looked at these people and they self-mobilized themselves. And this was also happening in Matlosane, in Klerksdorp. So there's a new spirit, there's a new mood, there's a new commitment that people feel we must be part of the change and we must protect the little that we have and build on it. They understand now Rome was never built in a day. They understand that the little we have, we should use as a stepping stone to achieve more.
We're in conversation with the Premier of the province, Bushy Maape, and the MEC for Education, Maphefo Matsemela, and also we're here to also celebrate not just her achievement, but just her as a person, the winner of this 2021 African Union Continental Teachers Award, Agnes Rasesemola. Her school is, among the popular ones in the province that are not in towns that are known for producing great results. Sunrise View Secondary School, she won this award. It was bestowed on her in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia at the end of last month. I mean, it's a big deal, this award. African Union Continental Teachers Award. Anybody that wakes you up in the middle of the night and says to you, do teachers in the Northwest Province ever win anything? Well, we do. And yes. We have a winner with us. We're going to continue and wrap up our conversation in a moment. It's UFM in tune with you.
Silva Sibia, News Note, Johannesburg.
News Note, Pretoria.
News Note, Rustenburg.
News Note, Klerksdorp. News Note, News Desk.
Tabang Morutwa, News Note, Mahikeng.
Letabo Mashapa, News Note, News Desk.
News Note covers news in the Northwest Province, Gauteng, and the rest of the country. Get the latest news first on newsnote.co.za and News Note on Facebook and Twitter. News Note, now you know.
Be a buzzer this December and stay connected on the go or at home. Get a massive 10 gigs of data plus a high-speed LTE MiFi router on the Buzzer network for just $4.99 once off. That's 5 gigs of anytime data, 5 gigs of Night Express, plus an LTE MiFi router for only $4.99. Simply visit an MTN store or selected retailers to join. T's and C's apply. Go big. Go Buzzer. Everywhere you go, MTN.
They thought they had you with their fancy new cars. Can't win a slim ply. That's why you deserve a life of more with your My More Plus account. Like up to 20% back on groceries, lifestyle or fashion with UCount Rewards, or a home loan approval amount of up to 105% for new homeowners when you open a My More Plus account. You can even buy Spotify, Uber Eats, and Showmax vouchers on our banking app. Get a My More Plus Gold card with no surprise monthly fees so you can enjoy more swipes and all the vibes. Open yours at standardbank.co.za or download our banking app. Standard Bank. It can be. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You are listening to the People's Poet Mzwakhe Mbuli on You with the Boys. On UFM, Pet, Cash, Kamo, Bingo, Entertainment, Empowerment, Fun, News, Wisdom, Motivation. God bless Africa. Africa.
So
God bless. God bless. God bless.
It's 9 minutes just before 9 o'clock, before we wrap up. And you can tell our guests are in good spirits. We're all celebrating this wonderful achievement. In the studio, we've got Mayor Agnes Rasesemola, who's the winner of this 2021 African Union Continental Teachers Award. We've got the MEC for Education, Maphefo Matsemela, and of course the Premier, Bushy Maape. And for what is left, Meras. Madia hedile khwedi e hedile ele November re anong madia hile ntse re ka di uniform re ka la bana stationery. What can you say to a parent who has any intention of bringing their child to your school in the future?
All I can say is they must listen to the media when the MEC announces that admission is open. We usually start issuing out forms from May, and then we start with our registration processes, and we conclude that by end of September. Because on annual basis, second week of November, we have our induction meeting where we get to meet with the parents and the prospective grade 8 learners. And already at that meeting, we expect learners to come wearing their formal school uniform. And that assists the parents, because when everyone is having a hype after the new year to go buy the uniform and stationery, the grade 8 parents of the following year of Sunrise View Secondary School, they will be done by then. I also make them aware that the suppliers that we use, they have sale in November. So as I speak, my grade 8 of 2022, they are ready with uniform. They have the stationery bought, I assume. And the only thing that is left for them to conclude the admission process is to bring the final year-end report of grade 7.
MEC, the spotlight moves to you now. It's been a very difficult year. Conducting education has been very challenging for all teachers, especially with this COVID. You know, we moved from that situation at the timetable, the children not attending on a daily basis. They've written their exams. I would like you to address both the teachers and the learners and your year-end message for education.
Thank you very much, Pat. I want to say to our teachers, you have been so incredible, honestly, in implementing the curriculum during this difficult period. I know that it was quite challenging around our differentiated timetabling, but I have seen a lot of you adjusting easily. You have even given me some advices, because normally I like to consult with the principals as to how best can we actually deal with this matter. So most of them have actually responded, give me feedback and say, MEC, if we bring all the primary learners back to our schools, if we continue with the differentiated timetabling, it will still assist us. And I want to say to all of them, thank you so much. To our principals, you have been there to anchor the boat in our different schools. To the Superintendent General, to the Administrator of the Department of Education through DBE, thank you so much. We have been working together. To our learners, wherever you are, in the results, especially my grade 12. For the first time since 2017, we have presented a very strong cohort of the grade 12s. Comparatively, in 2017, we thought they were strong, but when you take these learners who didn't actually write a formal assessment last year, they are much stronger as compared to many years that I've just mentioned. So we are hoping that these learners honestly will prove to it that the curriculum in our classes reflect an effective teaching and learning on daily basis through the teachers that are there. To the SGBs, thank you so much for taking good care of our schools and guiding accordingly on governance matters. And happy Christmas and Happy New Year.
Vaccination of learners, MEC?
We are there, actually. We have already issued a statement, and on top of that, we have written circulars to our school principals and SGB that whenever there is a vaccination site in our communities, we are encouraging our learners to go there on daily basis, especially the 12s and the 17 years. But I've seen our learners voluntarily, honestly, coming out for this vaccine. I've been all over Bojanala, given that I'm also a district development model champion in Bojanala. I've been all over Bojanala. I've seen the 12 years and the 17 years go into the vaccine site and take their jabs.
Thank you. Premier Tlakopa you also got vaccinated. Did you get Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer?
No. Not Johnson & Johnson.
You got Pfizer?
Pfizer.
Aha. Beautiful. Please wrap up today for us. We've got 3 minutes.
You know, Pat, our province, like I said, used to be number one. You know, I used to work for government during the time when Popo Maphefo was premier. And we used to perform in many areas better than other provinces. And we think we're busy returning to that status of being one of the leading provinces in the country. And we attained this because of the work of people like Mrs. Rasesemola. And we want to say that all other teachers should use her as a benchmark, should use her as a role model, should use her school as an example of a school that can overcome some limitations to perform. But this should be generalized in other spheres as well, whether it is a clinic, whether it is a library, whether it is a post office, whether it is a Department of Home Affairs where we go and apply for IDs. We must make this democracy meaningful by ensuring that people get services. You know, services they're entitled to by virtue of being citizens. Services they should get in terms of the Constitution. And I think the situation is changing, as you indicated. We are getting there. In terms of vaccination, like I said, we are standing at 41%. We are not really trying to outcompete other provinces, but we are just using that as a comparison measure that we are not doing badly, but we want to improve the statistics. And where we have a slight problem is the category that the MEC referred to, the youth. We want to encourage the youth to come forward to vaccinate. We know that social media, particularly in terms of unscientific arguments, it's targeting them. And we want to say that since they have access to social media, they must try to Google people like Professor Fuchi and know more about vaccine. And unfortunately, Omicron, the new variant, you know, it's a complex thing. Little is known about it. You know, it can mutate 50 times. You know what that means. You think you understand it, it mutates. You think you understand it, it mutates 50 times. But what we are definite about, what we are sure about, is that vaccine will help you.
Sorry to cut you there. We're out of time. I wish we had an extra hour just to chat to all three of you. Once again, congratulations to Mayor Rasesemola and to the MEC and the